Live, tackling the topics everyone's talking about online. Share, engage, interact. This is Newsfeed Now.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us on Newsfeed Now on this Tuesday, April 9th. I'm Susanne Brunner in for Aaron Nolan. Hope your day is off to a great start. Right now, we have been following a story out of Port Barre, Louisiana that's made national headlines. A 15-year-old girl who's been missing for more than a week was found thousands of miles away from home with a 47-year-old family friend. Take a look here. Authorities say Domiana Spell got off a school bus and hopped in a car with Corey Shane Dissetel. After a week-long search, they found them in Colorado. Here's the thing, though, about 20 miles away from where the teen was last seen, authorities got a tip that Dissetel was shopping at a Walmart in Opelousas, Louisiana. A Walmart employee reported to police that Dissetel bought prepaid debit cards. Caroline Marcello explains how that purchase helped lead authorities to Spell and Dissetel.
Before leaving Louisiana with 15-year-old Spell, Dissetel bought items at the Opelousas Walmart that one employee who wishes to remain anonymous didn't forget. She made the connection while talking to a coworker.
You know, that's crazy. All this has happened, and he just checked out a couple days ago. And then it dawned on me what he checked out, that he checked out the debit cards.
The store employee knew she had to say something because she says she realized everything is traceable.
Well, I got children of my own, and I'd want somebody, even if they didn't think that the tip was useful, I'd want them to reach out and at least give it a try.
The employee says she reached out to the chief of police in Port Barre and was later contacted by the FBI. Police confirmed Friday that Dissetel was taken into custody and Spell was safe.
My only regret is that I didn't think of it sooner. If I would have thought of it sooner, maybe they still would have been in the area and they could have got them.
Well, let's bring in Caroline from Lafayette right now. Hey, Caroline, thanks so much for joining us. You know, what's interesting about this is when the Walmart employee realized who the man was, she knew the prepaid debit cards could help track them, and it did in this case. So how soon did that happen?
Just a couple days. She said she wished she would have remembered sooner because she thinks they might have found them in the state still, but the fact that she still remembered is incredible. She recognized his pictures from the news and from social media and put two and two together that he bought prepaid debit cards and everything is traceable, and it led authorities to finding these two in Colorado. So a really incredible story.
Yeah, what's really great too is even though she realized this happened a couple of days later, she still reported it. Sometimes people say it's too late, but it's never too late. So what really helped was this woman called and reported what she saw. And you know, sometimes people think that their information might not work. It doesn't matter how big or small it is, that tip will help. And in this case, it did.
Definitely, and she said she's a mother herself, and she would hope that if anyone ever saw anything fishy or thought of anything fishy with her child involved, that they would speak up. And like you said, it doesn't matter how small, it could lead to them finding someone, and it's always someone's loved one. She said that. She said, you know, someone's always missing someone, so any help is always needed, and in this case, helped find this missing teen.
And yeah, absolutely about that. We were able to hear from different stories, her sister, the teen's sister, speak out. I'm curious, did the family have any idea that there was some sort of relationship between their friend and their daughter?
Yeah, so this 47-year-old was a close family friend, and we spoke to the sisters, like you said. They had found some notes that she might have been running away to Mississippi with him. They said she was having secret conversations with him on a cell phone that no one knew she had. They found letters. Really sad. They say they think this 15-year-old girl was really manipulated by this close family friend, and he really did have her believe that he was in love with her and wanted to be with her. So a lot to take in as a 15-year-old. You know, with a close family friend, and just a really sad situation altogether. But the family they weren't surprised when they found out.
Yeah, that's really, really sad, especially to find that, you know, a friend, you know, that you trust could be having some sort of interaction with their child. So both have been found Friday. What's the update on the teen and the suspect?
I actually was making calls earlier, got off the phone with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Lafayette. They're trying to get some answers, worked all day yesterday. We can't confirm if she's back with her family or if Desatel has been extradited back to the state yet, but still working on that. But she was found safe. That was reported. So that's the good thing. She is safe, and I'm sure they're working on getting her reunited with her family.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to keep following this story. A lot of eyes on this. Thanks so much for bringing that to us, Caroline. We appreciate your time. Game-changing technology for Air Force pilots. It's being created in Huntsville, Alabama right now. And get this, it actually involves putting bugs in a virtual reality. UAH and Polaris Sensor Technologies are teaming up for the study on tiny creatures that could have a pretty big impact. Renata De Gregorio tells us how this technology is mimicking nature.
It's something that's never been done before, and the end result could be a safer navigation system for the people protecting the country. How do you navigate when your GPS system fails you and it's your mission as an Air Force pilot to defend the country? Scientists in the Rocket City are creating a way around this problem with the help of unlikely allies, bugs.
Imagine being able to build a movie projector, but instead of for humans, with the wavelengths and the colors and the polarization that we don't notice.
Yep, they're creating a movie theater for bugs, one that's more like virtual reality, tricking them.
You have to make the insect think that it's outside and behave as if it were outside.
It's all about figuring out how insects see polarization and applying it to Air Force technology, something completely new. These scientists say the military is often dependent on GPS technology, and this could eventually be an alternative.
It's a big focus for the military right now, and it's an important area. That's where we need to go to be able to function in all environments. I mean, if the enemies want to impair our systems right now, you jam our GPS, or sometimes you're just naturally in a GPS denied environment.
All right, and I'd like to bring Renata in right now from Huntsville. Renata, this is so interesting. I mean, so scientists are looking at insects to help advance military technology. I've got to ask, how did this idea come about? No one would really put two and two together here.
Well, see, okay, you and I would think that, right? But these scientists were kind of like, yeah, of course they would go this route. They thought it was the most normal thing ever, because the man who works at UAH, he was saying that they've known about how bugs see and how it all works forever, but no one had really been like, hey, we should apply it, except for them. Like, he had known about this and thought about it before. It was kind of funny.
I mean, it's really neat when you take a look at how they're putting this all together. What was that like for you to see this firsthand?
Oh, it was really cool. I went in kind of not knowing what to expect. I didn't really know what it would look like. The guy I talked to on the phone was kind of saying it wasn't that visual, but then you go in and there are all these different materials, and they were getting really technical with the materials. I asked them to dumb it down really a lot. But then they have the little projection that they're trying to build so they can build UV screen for the bugs out of the materials, and it was really cool. I didn't get to see the bugs, so they haven't gone to that part yet, but that part would be the best to see, I think.
They have a lot of work on there. So the goal is to create a safer navigation system. So if the GPS system fails, but right now, from my understanding, there's no backup in place, so that's why they're working on this?
From my understanding, I'm pretty sure that that's how it goes. I'm not completely sure. I want to say I hope there's some kind of fail-safe, but yeah, it looks like sometimes the GPS system just doesn't work, and then they have to...
I guess just a better way of doing things.
Yeah, and then kind of a backup for some places. They were saying you could be in just a zone that doesn't have it, it doesn't work. And the man, too, the UAH guy, he said that was also a good system for the end of the world. If all navigation systems fail, they can have this.
What would we do without GPS? I'm telling you, it's just so helpful. But
I would be so lost.
So do you know how soon this would come out and be applied to technology, or are they already using it and testing it out?
Well, right now they have a $1 million grant to get it up and running over 3 years. So hopefully they're saying by then they should be done with it, but then it was kind of uncertain when they would actually be using it. The whole thing, actually, they said it took 7 months until they could actually get it approved by the Air Force to tell me about it.
Oh, wow.
So it could be under lock and key. We might not know even if it is good to go for a while.
Well, that's a really cool story. You're going to have to follow up, and we're going to have to check in with you down the road to see where they're going with this really neat study and discovery here. So thanks so much for joining us, Renata.
Thanks for having me.
A new hemp dispensary is creating a lot of buzz in the tiny town of Alberta, Alabama. Not all of it is good, though. As Chad Petrie reports, the owner hopes a little bit of education and patience can smooth over some pushback from the town.
Just because this bag of industrial hemp may look like a giant sack of weed, or there's a marijuana leaf on their logo, owner Christian Butts says everything they sell here is legal.
Absolutely, absolutely, to benefit many people in this community.
The first clash with the town came last weekend. Seedless Green had a soft opening during the Alberta Sausage Festival and put up their sign. They say just a day later they got a call from their realtor saying the sign was causing controversy, so they opted to take it down for now. It's hoped everyone's questions and concerns can be addressed at this week's town council meeting.
Giving them the assurance there'll be compliance here. I have a lot riding on this. I want to work within the law and will work within the law.
I spoke with town councilwoman Vicki Norris over the phone Sunday morning, who said she's not outright opposed to Seedless Green. They just need to know more.
In abidance to First Amendment laws, they have the right to say and do. But we, as a town, have an image, and we would like to protect our small town.
Butts says he picked Alberta rather than Mobile or a more populated part of Baldwin County because he's been farming in Lillian for years.
Chad from Mobile joining us now with more on this story. Chad, thanks so much for joining us right now. I want to end it on your story there. Councilwoman Norris says Christian is in abidance to the First Amendment. He has the right to do and say. But how does this move forward if people don't want his business there, even though he can legally operate? Can the city say pack up and go?
I think at this point, the only thing that would force him to get out of there is if this was not a good business decision. For right now, the tone of what he says he's received is generally mostly positive. Now, he set up during one of the biggest events in Alberta recently and said he had a pretty good response, but he hasn't fully opened his storefront yet, so it remains to be seen whether or not it's going to be viable.
Yeah, see, that's really interesting because, you know, he did explain why he set up shop over in Alberta. And so he noticed that there was a need for this in the community?
Yeah, he says that he wanted to expand. He's been farming in Alberta for years, and you got to note that Alberta is kind of removed from some of the other metropolitan areas in our viewing areas, so it did seem like an unusual choice at first, but he says he's got so many connections there that for him it was a natural fit.
Yeah, was it a surprise to him that this has become a controversy, or do you kind of expect this?
I think he was expecting that, and I think he's also eager to, what he says, to educate the community on hemp products and hemp production, because we're in a state where even Alabama's senior senator, Richard Shelby, is pushing for more hemp production in this state.
So what's next?
Well, at this point, he's going to be at the town council's work session tonight at 6 to answer any questions, and it really remains to be seen if this is going to be a barn burner or just a bore. Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes on this one. Thanks so much for keeping us up to date and letting us know more about this story, Chad. Not a problem. You guys have a good day.
You too. All right, there is a national youth soccer program. It's designed for children with disabilities. Kids are loving it, and parents are seeing a huge difference. Our Nigel McDonald spent the day in one Missouri community to take a peek inside this program.
Before now, playing a team sport like soccer was just a dream for 6-year-old Ella Van Boxtel.
Hit the ball in the goal.
Ella has Prader-Willi syndrome, which causes her to tire easily and her muscles to become very weak.
Our daughter does a lot of activities, but really nothing as a team sport. Because of her disability, there's such a gap between her physical delay and her peers.
Ella's mom, Julie Van Boxtel, tells me through Top Soccer, her daughter can now play in a safe environment.
It was going to be at her pace. She was going to be able to be on a team with other friends, do a team sport just like her friends do.
Program director Katie Ellsworth says each player has 2 volunteer soccer buddies to assist them at games.
The kids love these teenagers. The teenagers were just wonderful to them, and it just is a great time for the kids to make new friends.
Ellsworth says Top Soccer focuses on inclusiveness, skill development, building friendships, and most importantly, fun.
To learn and to have support and be safe in the environment, so it's just a huge component of the program.
Ella's mom says she was brought to tears seeing her daughter on the field for the first time.
I was crying as I saw her go out onto the field. She was able to be a typical kid. She was able to be a typical second grader.
Van Boxel says opportunities like these are important for all children.
Wow, what an amazing story right there. Nija joining us now from Springfield, Missouri. Hello, and thanks for joining us on Newsfeed Now. You're going to talk a little more about this program. I mean, you take a look at the video there, and to hear that mother say she cried when she saw her child go out on the field and just have fun. It's just amazing to see everybody come together and how it's impacted their lives. I mean, what was the feeling out there like for you and what you saw?
Whenever I saw the children, and for me it was really touching because, as she mentioned, you know, kids could just be kids in that moment, and so it wasn't like, oh, you know, I have a difference, I'm not the same as my peers. In that moment they were all the same, and so they were able to just be a kid, and so I was just really touched by that.
Absolutely. Top Soccer, how does this program, how do parents compare it to other sports programs they've tried to get their kids involved with?
So those with the disabilities say that this allows their children to be part of a team sport, because like Ella, you know, her parents were a little scared putting her in team sports because of her disability. She has very weak bones and muscles, but with, you know, Top Soccer, they tailor to each child's needs. And so parents are able to allow their children to participate in a team sport where they might not have been able to do so before.
That's so wonderful. How did they learn about this?
So she actually ran into a mom that she knew at the grocery store, and they just sparked up conversation, and she let her know that this was a program that they were introducing here in Springfield and that Ella would probably benefit from this, and so they gave it a try, and she's just happy because she said whenever the night of the first event, Ella came home and said, wow, I've never been a part of a team before. So she was able to realize, you know, yes, she's very active and she does things, but she doesn't do anything in a team setting. And so for her to be that young and to realize, wow, I had teammates, you know, we were doing it all together, I thought that was awesome.
That's amazing. And just to see that camaraderie out there. Thanks so much for speaking with us about this. A wonderful thing that parents and their kids can get involved with out there.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, you guys. Well, that's going to do it for us today on Newsfeed Now. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 11 o'clock.